ideally, like, it would be ideal.
You just win the lottery, bro.
Well, for
please.
example, it would be ideal to have like even like.
Can you just become successful and then I'd just ride my life
Your
off your
coattail, my
success?
coatails.
Yeah, is that
I can
right?
try that. I can try.
I mean, surely one of us, right?
I mean, it's only a matter of time, mate. That's what you got to believe.
Exactly. I think
you got to have that self belief.
I tried to believe.
It's about both being grounded and also believing in yourself that you can do it. I think there's a fine line between it getting cocky or
the balance of realism and optimism.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But it being optimistic is good as well.
Like wishful thinking.
I think it's more, when it's wishful, that means that you're not even actuating anything.
It's all just fantasy.
And
there's no,
which
it's not grounded whatsoever.
Which currently, with my script, is kind of how it is a little. It's not wishful thinking, but like the last couple of days.
It hasn't been solidified.
No, the last couple of days, it's just been like kind of a slug of trying to stay motivated with writing.
Cool, dude.
I want to write. It's just that weird thing of like, I've just got so many distractions around me.
Nice, man.
But
I can relate to an extent.
But I've been, there's been a couple like for example, gym or doing. Have you heard of what a Shakti is? It's like a mat that has like these spikes.
Yes,
it's called acupressure.
You were showing me that. You were showing me that the other day. Yeah.
You should lie on it afterwards.
You've got one.
Ollie has one.
Oh, cool.
But basically, you lie on it for like 20 minutes, and it's like spiky as far.
It's like
Brussels sprout.
Meditative.
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's a form of like mindful practice. You can download the app for free.
Oh,
and it's kind of
nice.
It's useless without the mat, but it's cool that you don't have to get like. You just make an account.
Oh, it gives you times and
it's like a full meditation podcast.
Wow,
They have like it's like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4.
Awesome.
And they have like a whole list of them, and they're all
Cool,
like 25 minutes each. But doing that the other day, because I did day 1, and then I was like, I take a medication that I take Accutane, and it makes your skin kind of weak.
Yeah, that's
so I was like, I don't want to mess with my skin barrier too much, just because it's like really sharp, and I know that your skin heals a lot slower on
cool, dude.
Accutane. So I decided just to not do it at the moment. But
that makes sense.
After that one session,
how you feeling?
Well, it just made me realize, like by kind of physicalizing it, that the first 10 minutes of anything is torture. And then once you push through that torture, you start to get into the flow state and you start to get into that comfortable rhythm. But I've just got to teach my brain to push through those uncomfortable moments.
Dude.
Or starting. Because for me, starting's hard.
I totally agree, especially with like physical exercise. For me, like Muay Thai and gym, like
starting's the hardest part.
I think I've talked a little bit about this with you off camera about how I get myself work. I'm in my head too much, and I'll say like, I don't really want to go and do this, either a gym workout or a Muay Thai class. And then when I get there, I love it, dude. It's incredible. It's so good. Like the endorphins and your natural like chemicals are hitting, and it feels so fulfilling to do it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, that was so good. Why would I ever think that it's not?
And I think because I've pushed through that, I think there was a little bit of time where I was similar in terms of exercise. But now that I've been going gym very consistently for the last like 4 or 5 months,
consistency is key, bro.
Like it's not like I am excited every day to go to the gym.
Yeah, I think I'm almost at that. I think I'm just about to get over that mount.
Peak.
Yeah, that peak, exactly.
Yeah, and I think
and it'll stop just becoming my routine. I won't even think of it as a task. It'll just like, I am doing this today.
Yeah, it's this is a thing that I have to. It is what it is. Like, that will be done.
It is happening regardless of how I feel.
Yeah, and it will make you feel better.
Yeah, dude.
Which is the same thing with, like you were talking about earlier, like, training the brain as a muscle, because it is one.
Yeah.
Is the brain a muscle or is it an organ?
Bit of both, I think. Not sure.
Either way, you train it like a muscle. And I think, the same is true. Like, when I am productive, I feel the best, obviously. But it's about pushing through those moments where I'm like, I just want to be comfortable and watch an episode of something. Or like distracting myself, procrastination, in essence. And I just need to get to the point where I am physically at the moment, where I'm excited to do it, to where the beginning of it isn't scary to me anymore. And I start to enjoy that part, the process of, like, the ritual almost of beginning exercise. I want to start to make it a habit to write, and then make it and then that habit will continue into being more of a ritual that
Mhm.
is second nature.
Yeah, dude. Comfortability kills creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortability kills
Comfortability.
success.
Yeah, wow.
Comfort kills.
It does. Comfort's man.
Yeah, man.
Sensor. Still learning.
All right,
this.
everyone. Welcome back to Eggs on Toast.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Keen to see you here. You're in for a treat today.
You are.
As are we.
As you can see, Ethan and I can barely contain ourselves. We are so excited for this episode because we're going to be talking about two things that we both
have seen recently.
Really enjoy.
The world's been waiting for.
The world has been waiting for it.
There's been a big
It is a
anticipation.
generational event.
Wow. I will say, I don't think something like this will happen for a long time, or potentially ever, where it's like the meme, where it's so ingrained in the culture of two movies being so vastly different and yet so linked together in the zeitgeist of culture.
Yeah. As you can probably guess, we're going to be talking about Oppenheimer and Barbie. Barbenheimer.
Yeah. Or Oppen Barbie, depending on what you subscribe to.
But see, it's funny. I saw Oppenheimer first, but I would still say Barbenheimer.
It is
I think it rolls off the tongue better.
You were saying Oppen Barbie for a bit.
I was.
And I wasn't rocking with
I think
it
that
too
was
much.
based off my viewing order.
Interesting. But when you saw it, you're like, yeah, Barbenheimer does make sense. Yeah. It rolls off the tongue better. You're right.
It's funny. I speaking of memes, I saw a meme, and it was back in 2008. The Dark Knight came out the same day or the same week, not down to the day as with these two films, but within the same week, Mamma Mia came out.
Yes.
And then it was like,
Nolan has a tendency to release things when it's like something polar opposite is released.
Yeah, and then it was like Batman and Mamma Mia walked so Barbenheimer could run, which I think is
I like that.
I did like that very much too. So
the internet's a strange place.
It is, man.
I
feel like it
like
blossoms so many great things.
It can.
It's an engine of creativity and nuance and
mass destruction.
That's true. Speaking of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. I think we're going to jump between the films since they're both... Well, it's funny. We were both saying they're
so different.
They're so different, yet they relate together.
There's a lot of...
Through meme culture, I guess.
Crossover, but I think we saw a video on YouTube recommended where it was it's more than just Barbenheimer is more than just
I never
name.
watched that.
But that came out, I think, before the movie came out, which doesn't
I think
make
we
sense.
had that. We were like, how... Because they can't review the film because the two films aren't out. But they probably just talked about the cultural impact the two films have.
But adding on to that, I think it's past meme culture. I think it's more so thematically there's similarities. There's it's strange how similar they are in so many ways.
In some regards, yeah.
I'm trying to think. So when we get there, I want to be have a pretty solid grasp of it.
But I feel like we're going to have a deep dive into both.
Yeah, I think it's kind of... We're not going to be too specific about where we jump to. Yeah, it's just where our minds take us, where we're more inspired
I agree. I think it's going to be a little bit all over the place, but I think when
we'll work within categories, I reckon.
Yeah.
We'll work in a category, and then if something inspires us, we'll make sure to jump to that.
We might just jump from one thing to another tangentially, but, And I think... As we were just touching on, obviously they work together. They are a testament to filmmaking, but I think majorly we're going to be talking about one and then the other, and then we'll talk about them together. But I feel like a majority of our discussion will be talking about Barbenheimer and then talking about Barbie
and then
at the end we can relate and discuss.
Interesting. Okay, because I have some topics.
This conversation could go so many directions.
A lot of the topics do have crossover.
Yeah,
is obviously cinematography and stuff.
Yeah.
But past
any
that
film element,
thematically, there is also things that I've noticed that I'd like to discuss. That
Agreed.
Do have crossover, but I'm happy to discuss them separately and then together.
Mm-hmm.
And how interestingly they are kind of connected.
Yep.
We'll see where this goes, but I think to begin, we'll give a brief description of each movie just to re-jog our memories. I just saw Barbie this morning because I was going to say in lieu of this.
I was going to say we can even give the audience a little bit of context as to when we saw it. So for me, right now we're filming on a Thursday. The Monday that just came, the 24th of July, The films had been out for a few days, but my friends and I wanted to watch them together, and that was the best time that we could do that. So I watched Oppenheimer first, and then we took a break, and then had some dinner, and then we went back to the cinema and watched Barbie. And Ethan, you didn't watch them. I would say
you did Barbenheimer.
I very much rode the meme of like
you Barbied.
I Barbied, but I very much took part in this meme cultural event.
I wanted to do as well.
Yeah.
And I had every intention of doing so, but it just ended up not happening.
I even like a few of us like wore black for Oppenheimer, and then and then pink for Barbie.
That's good.
It was
I
funny,
like that,
dude.
man.
And I even posted about it on social media.
Were there a lot of people in the cinema?
Dude,
there was a lot in Oppenheimer.
Dude, for me,
like a lot. It was packed.
Oppenheimer
Today was not.
Maybe 2/3 full. Wasn't packed because it'd
On
been a
Monday
few
even.
days.
That's pretty good.
And then Monday evening for Barbie, it was much later, so it was maybe like a third full.
But still felt like
there was
here.
I could hear the audience's reactions and energy. Yeah.
See, because it's so sad. Like these two have like revitalized my. I mean, obviously today I went during the day on a weekday. Everyone's at work and stuff, but like.
Yeah, how was it for you, dude?
Like there wasn't that many people in. Probably like 15,
which makes
max.
sense.
Or 15 people or so.
Wow.
Just scattered throughout the midsection of the cinema today because it was a big cinema. One of the VMAX at Whitford's.
Yeah.
Which I did for both.
Yeah, I went to Event as well. I think Event's pretty good.
Yeah, they're the biggest in Perth.
I preferred Grand back in the day, man. Like Grand was my childhood growing up, Whitford's and Warwick, but it is what it is.
Anyway, so on Saturday, I went to Oppenheimer, and that was after. I can't really remember what kind of.
Well, we had filmed earlier that day, right? Is that what you were trying to remember?
Were we filming on Sunday or Saturday? I'm so confused. Sunday.
I don't think the details matter, but
regardless.
But after
I
filming.
Went right after filming.
Were you feeling a bit tired
Oppenheimer? No. No, not really.
Oh, that's good.
Once I got there, I was keen.
Cool.
But yeah, because of the timing and stuff, we just I don't think there was a Barbie schedule after. So
that's fair.
And I didn't notice an impact of not like watching them separately. Did you at all think like I wish I watched them in the other order?
Again, as we've both sort of mentioned, like when you actually compare the two films, it's not like they're actually related at all. It's just the meme was like these two somewhat polar opposite movies, like a serious historical biopic versus what you could consider like a children's movie. It's about a toy. It's about a children's a little girl's toy come to life. Like if you're looking at based on those two descriptions, then you're like they don't relate.
That's fair.
But that's what made the meme take off.
Great.
I think.
Yeah, but
and Ryan Gosling.
Do you feel like there
and Cillian Murphy.
Do you feel like there was like emotionally? Do you think that it would have been better if you watched them in the other order? If you watched Oppenheimer Barbie first.
I think our thought process was, well, I'll get into our thoughts on what I thought of both, like my ratings and review and critiques. But I think we wanted to start with a serious, and then as the evening went on, some more lighthearted stuff. Even though the Barbie movie had some punch, man.
It did. Honestly,
it explored some great themes.
I cried in Barbie today, man. At the end,
I was kind of close.
And there was a moment because it was towards the end.
Yeah.
When the old lady was talking to her.
Yeah.
The creator of Mattel.
I was just gonna say, probably as of this point.
Oh, this
spoiler warning for both films. I would highly Ethan would agree with what I'm about to say. Go watch it
and come back to this, and we'll have this discussion. And I think like
we'll still be here when you get back. Don't worry.
I think this will be an interesting digest or dive into kind of what two people who are interested in film kind of see as well.
Agreed.
Because like I noticed, even my parents, like they'll come to me like, "How would you describe the film?
Yeah.
How would you describe the movie?"
I had a similar conversation. Yeah,
I'm not saying that we have vocabulary or knowledge about it that surpasses.
I think it would be interesting
but
for you guys to see what we thought of this
or not
film event.
Regardless, go watch the
spoiler
movie
warning,
if you don't want to get spoiled.
I would. Yeah, Ethan's going to agree with what I'm about to say. Definitely go see these two movies. It's funny. I didn't see any trailers for Oppenheimer.
I didn't see.
I saw a little bit for Barbie,
but
I kept myself in the dark about the two films because I really wanted to enjoy them.
Same.
Going in without any sort of sense of what was going on. So.
But yeah, I think that. Let's start. Let's start.
Agreed, dude.
There's
Let's
nothing
do
else
it.
to talk about.
I reckon since we both saw Oppenheimer first, I feel like we should.
Let's talk about that first.
This Barbie. Black controller first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the Wii controllers too.
Christopher Nolan's newest historical biopic, Oppenheimer. Do you want to start with ratings, or would you want to explore and then give our ratings at the end, do you think?
That's interesting. I think leave it to the end.
Leave it to the end? Okay.
Yeah, because also I think this will help me solidify what I truly feel about it.
I wonder if we can...
Because I haven't really... I actually didn't... After Oppenheimer, I didn't really talk too much about it. I was happy to let it sit. I even asked... I was with Angela and I was like, can we please not talk?
See,
like, as we were leaving the cinemas, I was like, let's not talk about it. I don't want to talk about it yet.
See, I think more of my thoughts could be...
molded
and... what's consolidated because we watched Oppenheimer and then had dinner in the middle. So we had time to talk about it, whereas Barbie
was a question mark at the end.
At the end, we were a bit tired, so we just kind of went straight home. We didn't
ways.
really get to talk about it. So yeah. Dude, great. I would say I would describe it as a magnificent film.
I wouldn't say it was a masterpiece.
No. I wouldn't say it was perfect.
No.
I saw IGN gave it a 10, and I was like, I would disagree. It was not a perfect movie. There were a few issues.
I honestly
nothing
can't
bad.
put my finger on like the pulse of the issue. It's just like right now.
We just know it's not perfect.
After leaving,
I was
just like, oh, this didn't grip me as much as a 10 would.
My friend Jay and I, as I just said, we didn't really get a chance to talk, but I drove home with my mate Jay, and we talked about how Oppenheimer, we kind of expected Oppenheimer to be better than Barbie. So when we watched Oppenheimer...
Sure, your expectations were maybe not met.
Correct. They were somewhat under what we expected. And then Barbie...
was over.
It exceeded our expectations. So to
it almost
me...
felt like Barbie was better.
See...
You say you don't want to say it, but you feel like you like Barbie almost more.
I
know what would have made Barbie
either because Oppenheimer I thought would be better and it kind of wasn't, and I thought Barbie wouldn't be as good and it was better than I thought. They've almost equaled out. Yep.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, as I left Barbie, I thought that it's basically I would give them, they're so different and for such different reasons why I like them.
And yet my rating is the same for both.
Yeah. I have a pretty there's a part of Barbie that I'll talk about later that I think would affect my rating for it.
Cool.
In a more positive way.
Let's jump into Oppenheimer.
Right. So
Cillian Murphy.
Shall we
Cillian Murphy plays J. Robert Oppenheimer, the real world.
Is it Robert J. Oppenheimer?
I think when I googled it, it was J. Robert Oppenheimer, but he just goes by Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. Yep. And he plays a physicist that is
theoretical physicist.
Correct. Theory can only get you so far, dude.
Yeah, and then you've got to implement it.
Yeah, and he along with a team of scientists basically discovered. I mean, like they didn't discover it, but they
were the first people to create.
Correct.
To truly conceptualize and create
the atomic bomb.
The atomic bomb.
And they were like really scared, man. The emotion in the film was really good because for that brief instant when he was talking to Matt Damon's character about there's a chance that the whole world could end because of the way that the atoms could continue to the knock-on effect, and then the whole world would burn, and they visualized it really well.
There would be a knock-on effect that would not that would continue from the
The
explosion.
cascade of
and it would start
atoms.
and it would start
of
to
fission,
set
right?
off a chain reaction
Yeah.
on every single atom
Mm-hmm.
across the Earth
Yeah.
in the atmosphere,
Correct.
and would destroy the Earth. There was a near zero chance, and I think that's still true. I think that the case is still true, where it's like, if like I guess if you tested
It's
enough,
not as in it's not impossible.
it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Like if those calculations are correct to this day, it's still like a reality that setting off a nuke could have has a near zero.
Would you say in Oppenheimer any of the performances were Oscar worthy? There's an argument to be made about
Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss.
He was amazing.
He
I haven't seen him. I've seen
outside of
few,
the MCU.
No. I've seen a few Robert Downey Jr. movies, and
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. There was.
Oh, you mean like serious, like roles similar to this?
No.
No,
Let me think.
I don't think I have either.
I don't think so. I don't think he's done many roles like this,
No,
or any. But
any roles?
like this.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, I think that I've never seen him like as an actor. I've never seen him portray a character in that way, and
Like a real person.
well, no. Let me start again.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think I haven't. I don't think I've seen him be like that before, and it's really hard to transform truly transform into a character and not lose yourself, but to like step into the shoes of the character.
As in, like, Robert Downey Jr. as an actor
For
has kind of put himself in a box.
No, so
in
like
terms of
for
acting?
example, Rami Malek. I think
I
I saw
I
of
can't believe he was in that.
all I
I didn't even
saw
know.
of Rami Malek was
He was in like 2 scenes, right?
yeah, but like all I saw are 3.
Oh, 3, yeah.
All I saw of Rami Malek was Rami Malek being Rami Malek. There wasn't anything transformative
Like The
about
Rock.
what he was
Like
doing.
The Rock isn't playing a character. The Rock is just playing himself, kind of, in every role.
But people see 100%. But people see Rami Malek as like a more of a highbrow actor who takes on roles that are difficult or challenging, or whatever you want to say. But I think that what I saw of him was just pretty disappointing.
Really interesting.
Yeah, Rami Malek just felt like he was just his jittery self, where he was doing his little tweaks and stuff like that. And I don't think that it helped the story that much. If think of it like this: if Rami Malek wasn't in it and another actor was, would it have changed anything?
I think so.
It would have, and probably for the better. I don't think he was just weird.
Yeah,
and he didn't need to be.
2 things. One, did you notice all the
cameos?
Roderick, the guy who played Roderick from Die of a Movie Kid was in it.
Yeah,
the guy who played
Drake and Josh. What's his Josh?
We spoke about you the other week.
Yes,
one of the characters from You was in
3.
it. The young guy. I think his name. Yeah,
I don't know his name,
but he was in
Rob,
it. He was
Oppenheimer's
Oppenheimer's younger brother. Correct.
Yeah, I have thoughts about okay, I guess now we'll talk about the cameos.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to talk about cameos for both here.
Mm-hmm.
For
right.
Barbie and Oppenheimer. What did you think about, before I speak, what did you think about, how did you feel about there being so many people that were kind of notable or known actors?
This is what I was going to ask you when you
Known
were talking
faces.
about Rami was do you feel like when you're watching a movie sometimes, because the actor is so prominent, you
You just see the actor.
What?
You just see them.
You
not
see the actor,
character.
and you therefore are taken out of the movie because you're not thinking of them at Robert Downey Jr. Not thinking of him as Strauss. You're thinking of him as Robert Downey. ODJ.
Yeah, I'm watching a celebrity, as opposed to.
So I feel this is a bit off topic from Oppenheimer, but I think in general, some movies are better when you don't know the actors, because then you're not thinking about the actor. You're thinking about the actor as the character, and therefore you're
100%.
more enthralled in the film.
100%.
And I think that's why kids can have a better time, children have a better time watching films, because as adults, we start thinking about the actors and the real world side of the film, whereas you can just be
fully invested.
You can escape into the world of the film.
Yeah, and I think that's something that harmed the believability of Oppenheimer,
Really?
and also it harmed my
Even Matt Damon's character. I was when he had the
Sure.
funny joke about.
I liked Matt Damon's
We'll kill
character. in
him.
it.
Oh, we'll just kill that guy.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
Yeah,
ones?
yeah.
Like that was funny, but I was like, oh, that's something Matt Damon would say, like as a joke. Like,
Sure.
that's not what. Would this general actually say that? Like,
Sure.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I wonder if he ad-libbed it.
I
but
was
anyway.
okay. Like I have.
But I like when a serious movie has like
something to break the
like
tension.
2 to 3 moments of breaking the tension, just comedic
For sure.
comedy.
They're needed, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, let me let you speak for a bit.
I think, I just think that the investment that I had, at least, in the characters was harmed by knowing who they are as people. Even when they're not big actors, it was like almost everyone I saw in that movie, I knew their face.
Florence Pugh.
Like, but past them, even the people that I don't know.
Amelia Clark. Oh no, not Amelia Clark. Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh,
Cillian Murphy.
But I like that. Robert, I think the casting for the main actors was perfect.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, when you actually look at the real world person, they actually look like them.
But like, so even the way that they portray them, their like demeanor, I think they really did well.
They are incredible. All of them are incredible actors and actresses. Yeah,
but I think past the leads, a lot of the characters weren't super, refined. They were just like, here is this person, like. Not all, but some of the people who had like 1 or 2 lines, like Roderick or
even the
I didn't mind Roderick being in it because I've barely seen it.
Even during all those interview scenes, it wasn't exactly a hearing, but it was what I mean. The main interviewer guy, I forgot the actor's name, but he's in like Terminator Genesis as John Connor.
Yeah, even Gary Oldman as the president.
Yeah. Wow, man, I want to talk about that scene. That scene was incredible.
It was very good, but just looking at the cameos, I think for Oppenheimer, I personally think that it weakened the movie.
Wow, you reminded me of that scene, and that scene was phenomenal.
It was.
All right, I've got 2 big things on Oppenheimer, and I want your insights. All right, number 1, when Florence Pugh's character committed suicide or died, did you see the hand? Yes, dude. I
talked to Angelo about this and Ollie, and they said they didn't see it.
So what
I did see the black hand.
Yeah. So do you know what that is? That is the theory / like inconsistency in the story that
good.
She didn't commit suicide and she actually was killed by a communist. We don't know. That's why it was so ambiguous. That's why
she was communist though.
No, correct. But the communists might have seen that he had affiliation. Right. She had affiliations with Oppenheimer through
like a Russian communist. You mean?
Correct. And
not an American communist.
No. Yeah. Oppenheimer was an American communist. Well, like he was going to the meetings and
you're sounding like one of the interviewers now.
What do you mean?
You sound like one of the people who are putting him on blast in that interview room.
I don't mean to. I love Cillian Murphy. He's great. And
I'm not Cillian Murphy.
Oh, Oppenheimer? Yeah, true. Those court scenes were good, but let me get back on track. So yeah, it was Christopher Nolan crafted that like scene to be ambiguous in that it shouldn't be concrete whether she died or not. Oppenheimer was led to believe that she committed suicide.
I'm so
and
glad
she might have been
wasn't
anyway.
Me overreading it because there was only one shot of it.
Exactly, dude. It was really
beautiful.
Good. And number 2 is, did you understand why certain scenes were black and white versus in color? Did you work it out while watching the film? I actually didn't until I spoke with my friends afterwards.
I did. Man, in the moment, I remember when it changed to color, it was like, oh, this is the first time we're seeing Robert Downey Jr. in color.
Yeah.
And I think it's when they. Oh man, that's a good question.
I'm posing the question to you. Do you know why the scenes were black and white and in color?
Is it something to do with the timeline?
Somewhat. That's what I thought. I thought the black and white was actually not a flashback, a flash forward, and in color was a flashback, and that he was playing off that trope of sometimes black and white things are flashbacks.
That's partially true.
In color,
but there's also other scenes.
Yeah. See, and then the timeline all changes. Yes.
It all changes because then everything goes color.
Correct. So, my mate Nick explained to me he saw it online, and then he was like, "It makes so much sense when you watch it."
But
Do you want the answer? It's actually really interesting, and it's like it'll click once I give you the answer.
Yeah. I think I would need to watch it again because I was concentrating so heavily.
Oh, you don't think you'd work it out, right? I to be honest, I couldn't work it out, but it made so much sense hearing the answer.
Tell me.
So, the black and white scenes, or anything that is like 100% historically accurate, whereas anything in color is Oppenheimer's interpretation of events that took place. So everything in color is what Oppenheimer believed, or to his knowledge, is what happened. Whereas in black and white is like everything that like 100% occurred. Like the court scenes, there's so many witnesses and people, and it was like a recorded thing that it was definitely what occurred in like
now
real
I want to
world.
watch it back.
Whereas in color, so many scenes of those were with Oppenheimer, from Oppenheimer's perspective, that they were his interpretation of events that took place.
Interesting.
Does that make sense? Are there flaws in that? I'm pretty sure that's
I'm thinking,
right explanation.
It makes sense.
Like his conversation with Einstein. Like only he knew that. Like I'm pretty sure it's based off his written
hearsay,
works,
right? As
Correct.
opposed to it being factual, like
Correct.
Stuff that can be peer reviewed, or like
yeah.
other people can be like, yes, this did happen. I heard this, or
and
I
like
saw
those
it.
all those not in the court, those interview scenes. Obviously, records of those were kept, but I think Nolan crafted those scenes based off Oppenheimer's interpretation of what happened.
But some of those scenes are black and white.
Correct.
And
so it's jumping between what 100% happened, like what is written fact of what occurred in that instance, whereas it's Oppenheimer's interpretation of what happened.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
And
I like that.
When my mate told me that, I was like, wow, that's incredible.
A great extra layer.
Of course, dude. It just
Great
Christopher Nolan layers his films with such intricacies. It's actually impressive.
I've never seen Christopher Nolan make a movie like this. It's
elaborate,
it's
dude.
very
What
different.
Do you mean?
Like he does like doing character-driven movies that are like
and practicality
that are centered around typically one person.
Oh right, he's never made a biopic. Is that what you're
never
saying?
made a biopic, but like this was a lot. This was a slow burn of a movie.
That's true.
This was a
you
slow
think it dragged
burn.
on a little bit?
I think
pacing overall was pretty good,
Yep.
but there was some.
I think
I don't think it had to be 3 hours. I think it could have been cut down a little bit.
as it got 1 hour in, about 1 hour in, I was like, this is gonna I've got 2 hours more of this. Interesting. And then about 10 minutes later, I think it started to focus more on like I can't remember what changed, to be honest.
Yep.
It wasn't an active thing, but I noticed myself really invested about 10 minutes later. So there was like a bit of a lapse in like a momentary.
You were kind of taking a step back and being like,
like
this is I get what you're saying.
some pacing, but I don't know if I'd say there's any pacing issues
Yeah.
necessarily, but it could be tightened up a touch. But it was a big story.
Yeah.
A lot of things were said. I liked that it was a slow movie.
I didn't see the Strauss twist coming where he was actually the villain. And it actually was
the Strauss.
yeah.
Strauss.
It's funny in the film.
Did I say
Oppenheimer
Strauss?
calls him Strauss, and he's like, "It's Strauss." So I think it's pronounced Strauss.
Interesting.
I'll just go
Let's
based
call him
off.
Strauss. That guy.
Yeah, true. I really liked how that was revealed.
Yeah, and I also like how Timeline was revealed
Yeah.
as well, because it was like when you saw him and Einstein talking, it's kind of
I
like
was just about to
you
go to
could
that.
probably logically go, okay, because the thing is, a lot of the movie is left ambiguous in terms of like what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, is Strauss friends after this?
Yeah,
court
the
hearing?
timeline's messy and
Like-
ambiguous in the beginning.
Yeah, and
It jumps all over the place.
Is Strauss like at the court hearing? It's not a court hearing, but
Yeah.
at the hearing or whatever.
But then by the end, it all fits together well.
Is
Yeah.
Strauss? Is this before Strauss is with him and Einstein, or after?
Yeah.
And then you realize like
It's really good.
oh wait, like Einstein happened after the atomic
Yeah.
bomb, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is early.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that happened before the atomic bomb.
Non-linear storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, it
it's
was
good.
great, but like the way that they revealed it, because like obviously you knew it was non-linear, but like the way that there was one little piece a bit with the Strauss thing that locked everything else into, oh, I know how the timeline goes now.
I think I know why. I think I might have a potential answer to why you felt an hour in it, you kind of were like, had a bit of hesitation. It was like, for me, the film was quite convoluted. There was a lot of things you had to know and understand.
So many names and characters.
Correct.
And
I think for me, that's what led to a similar experience you had, where I was kind of out of it. I kind of took a step back and was like, "Oh, there's a lot going on." Like
I felt that later in.
I felt
later
confused
on in the movie.
times. I felt confused at times, but by the end, everything, bang, came together.
Yeah,
and there was cohesion by the end of the story.
See, as the movie was beginning to get close to the end, and like a lot of things were getting revealed.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this person? Oh my God. Like, I really had to like lock in and, you know, I was losing bits, but then I was like, as the movie was continuing, I'm like, oh, that's that guy, right? A minute ago, I heard his name and I was still trying to figure out, and then I see his face. Oh, that's him. Everything connects again. So it's like, it's once again very Nolan to make it.
Yeah. And at the end, where I thought Strauss was going to win. I thought he was going to win when it was revealed that.
When Rami Malek.
But then Rami.
What a good sucker punch.
So good. And who was Strauss's assistant?
I laughed every time I saw Rami.
Who was Strauss's assistant? I felt like we were seeing through the eyes of him. Like we were with him in that we didn't like Strauss, but like, do you get what I'm saying? He clearly didn't like Strauss, but he sort of had to because he was like his assistant or his colleague. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, he didn't like Strauss after realizing he was fishy.
Yeah, and pulled that elaborate plan to go over Oppenheimer, essentially, just based off public embarrassment at that court hearing years ago, or at that hearing years ago.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. Another thing is, you were speaking on the Einstein scene, and Strauss was like, "What did you say to him? Like, what did you guys speak about?" That was in the beginning of the film, and you as the audience are. In Strauss's perspective, you're like, you're right. What was said? What important thing was said?
Because you read into it. Because at first, when Einstein walks past,
you're
like,
about
oh,
Strauss.
He's an old man. Yeah, he's an old man.
Exactly.
And then Strauss starts complaining about it.
You think he has dementia.
Oh, wait. But then Strauss starts complaining.
You're led to believe this specific.
He does walk past Strauss, kind of annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I love
and you didn't
the conversation that Oppenheimer had with Einstein. I loved that
at the end.
Yes, like how the reveal. It was such a poignant. Like,
it was a beautiful ending.
The way that like,
and it was cyclical because the film essentially, not literally, but it essentially opened with that scene and then it ended with that scene fully explained and like put in context with the the entire film,
the
encapsulation of the entire film.
Sure.
Yeah. And I thought that was beautiful, and the power within the powerful like conversation they actually had about. Like, the world is beyond.
When he's like,
we've transcended.
To Einstein, I think, so I might be cutting.
We're past the point of no return.
Yeah, but when he said to Einstein, like, you know, we had calculated that. Like, he showed him the calculation. What is this?
Yeah,
we calculated. Was that?
Oh, that's a previous scene when they're walking in the forest. But that was a great build up to that showed them actually meeting because Oppenheimer was like. Yeah, I actually have. Remember, Strauss was like, "Oh, I'll introduce you." And he's like, "Oh, we've already met."
Yeah.
And then as the audience, you're like, "Oh, how have they just seen each other at like a public thing, or have they actually had a conversation?"
Yes.
And then you find out that they actually have.
I kind of just assumed that, like back then,
they seemed like actual
physicists
friends.
and mathematicians would have been close. Like,
agreed.
It was a pretty not small, but a very tight knit field. It's not like Anyway,
so their conversation at the very end.
Like I just loved how. You know, Oppenheimer said to Einstein, I'm paraphrasing, but something in the tune of, we thought that. I don't actually who said it to who, but it was like we thought that we've calculated, and you know, we thought that if the chain reaction continues, that there is a near zero chance, but a potential of the chain reaction continuing, of it destroying the world. And then maybe Einstein said that, or Einstein said like, "Did you?" Or I can't.
Oh, did you actually calculate it, or did you kind of hope it would happen?
Or something like that. And then Oppenheimer said, "And I think we have destroyed the world."
Dude, I love that because it was like the idea of the bomb versus the actual bomb. So the actual actual bomb could inflict damage on the world, whereas
But
the mere idea of it would inflict damage on the world.
The
Just
actual,
us knowing how to do it
yeah, the fact that it has happened, it has metaphorically
changed our existence.
destroyed the world.
Yeah.
And I just felt so I felt so much anguish for Oppenheimer, so much sadness.
Dude,
like I felt it was such a tragic story. It was a tragedy.
It was. He was persecuted for his moral ambiguity of
And
like
at
he was
80,
like,
when
I
he
was
was
doing my
old, he
job.
got-
Yeah, I love that. I love that they jumped to the end where he was then
Lauded.
rewarded and praised for his work when he was persecuted for all those years.
And his wife said that. Didn't his wife say it? Or
Yeah, I
Einstein?
think it was narration during that.
It was
flash
like
forward.
It was, but no. It was like his wife was like, one day they will see you.
Yeah.
They'll award you of your.
I think that's it. That's voiceover narration while
when
it's
it's
showing
revealed.
that. Yeah.
And
that was incredible.
I think the aging of them was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
they looked
makeup
good.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I mean
that was beautiful, man. And he's like any man in Oppenheimer's any person in Oppenheimer's position would have those. Dude, the scene where he has to all the scenes where he was visualizing the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki when he's in that sort of
when everyone's
in
cheering
the theater.
for him.
Yeah.
With the
wow.
what's behind him? The
American
basketball.
flag. Oh, the basketball. Yeah.
He's in a little basketball. Half
gym
court
kind of
gym.
thing. Yeah.
And there's a crowd cheering him gross.
And
it's gross.
and it just becomes white noise and then flashing and then he steps in
shaking behind him.
He steps in the husk of a human being.
The peeling of a skin.
Oh, bro.
The
I
scream
love
of a
how
girl.
they didn't outright show the horrific nature of the effects. There was the one scene where they were being shown what had actually happened in Japan, and then the audience doesn't get to see it, but we see our reactions. And Oppenheimer and some people in the background look away or disgusted. And Oppenheimer his expression remains neutral, not he doesn't care, but he's just I did this.
Yeah.
And then he just looks. He has the same demeanor, and he just looks away. He just lowers his gaze, and that's it.
And I think some people
And Cillian Murphy pulls it off so so good, bro.
There's so much story, so much to say behind his eyes.
Yeah.
And I think some
he has
people
nice eyes as well, dude.
Yeah, nice and blue.
Blue, yeah. One scene, the
lights hitting
the
them
light
right.
was reflect. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I think some people who might have watched the movie may feel like there's that Oppenheimer, did thinks that the bombs were okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's truly reading
Well,
the dialogue incorrectly.
Yeah.
When he's explaining
what is the true answer?
when he's saying it was necessary.
Yeah. If it was between us and them, I'd rather we know how to. I'd
then
rather
the whole world
it.
physically be destroyed.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, he said it to save face.
Yeah.
Because he wants to have his security clearance so then he can. Why does he want his security clearance?
See that?
I need to research that.
I think it was to stay in the US.
No.
No?
No, I think security clearance to him was important so that he could get into... Because he really...
I thought it was to stay with his family and be with his brother.
I don't think so. I think it's to stay
the scene where it was showing his brother was an outcast and then all his colleagues were outcasted from society because they were shunned.
They were communists.
No. His American... the team that worked on the bomb at the base.
Yeah.
It showed a little montage highlighting how years on they were all persecuted.
Sure.
They were held at this. They did much for the.
I don't think they got persecuted.
They did
just
so
got
much
dropped.
for the American government and they did all this for them just so they could win
and
a
they
war.
become a train.
And then
train track
they're
worker
shunned. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying. Yeah.
Well, I think they just got dropped.
Yeah.
Because they were we need to eradicate any idea that this ever happened. But
correct.
Yeah, I think some people think that Oppenheimer actually wanted thinks that it was he is happy that the nukes happened.
I liked when the interviewer was pushing him for an answer. He was like, "So did you want it? Did you want this to happen or not?" And he was like,
just
"No."
talking over
and
it.
he's like, "Then why'd you do it?" He's like, "It was my job."
Yeah.
And
I liked
he couldn't even really
the tension there was
he
great.
couldn't really even express how he was feeling. Like with that mere idea of like whether, like, if something of that power can be created, like, and we now have the power to do that. We're now at like a stalemate in the world. Like now everyone owns nukes.
Yeah.
So like if one were to go off,
The world's over.
the world's over. So we are literally now in a world where it's just a stalemate, where no one's gonna. We're all just.
But it's literally
we're all just ready.
It's one man, like giving one man so much. Like the military's backing him. They're almost forcing him to do it.
Yeah,
because it's like you are working for us because we need to make the nuke, and we know that you're going to help us. You're going to spearhead this. We need like. And he knows that he can't shit talk the government because that'll be a felony. He'll get kicked out.
Yeah. Corruption.
He thinks
delusion
thought for so long that it was necessary just for the very fact of like we couldn't give it to the Russians. We couldn't give it to the Germans. It was like so. And
it was a race. It was a race to make it.
And then he finds out that actually Japan was losing. Because he was like,
and it wasn't.
He was like,
and
Japan
it basically wasn't necessary.
He was like, Japan was never going to surrender. That's what they were getting told.
Mm-hmm.
And then he found out that they were basically all done.
Yeah. Anyway,
and they were on the very last feet, and they sent a nuke over. He didn't know this, and then afterwards he found out, and he, at that point, you could just see that he. Is that when
Truman? Is that the president told him that, right? Or
I think so.
Yeah,
that was
dude. That scene was phenomenal. I was.
You didn't kill them, boy.
I was
did.
encapsulated by that dialogue, that exchange of dialogue where President Truman is like, "You think they care about who made it? They care about who dropped it."
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm gonna swear. He's like, "Fuck you for thinking, for all this self-pity that you think you're the man.
I'm the man
that's being persecuted. I'm the man being persecuted."
Yeah. And I'm happy about it.
And then he's basically like, "Get out of my office. You're a disgrace.
Get that diva out of here."
Yeah, he's like, "Don't let that guy back in here."
He said, "Don't let that crybaby."
Yeah. That, and it was Gary Oldman. Like, I had no idea Gary Oldman was going to be in this movie.
Filthy.
That was probably my favorite scene, I would say.
Yeah, that or when Downey was in the office.
Oh, revealing his plan
when he showed his anger.
Yeah,
that was the moment when I was like, this is that's an Oscar-worthy performance. Yep. When he let go and showed his anger, I was like, that's beautiful. I've never seen that from him, and I couldn't see Robert. I looked past the actor. I saw the character,
and then when he's completely undermined and like revealed as like the bad guy to all those people, he like maintains his like public sort of presence, and he's like,
yep.
When internally he's like,
up.
He's angry and distraught and absolutely
exploding.
Yeah, he's so angry. Yeah, it was so good, man.
So and now
we haven't even talked about Barbie yet.
Say,
Holy moly!
So tracking all the way back to cameos, which is I think a great intro into. Oh,
why don't we?
Firstly, cinematography in Oppenheimer, great.
Oh, phenomenal!
Really lovely. I wish I
didn't
saw it in
expect
IMAX.
anything less.
I wish I saw it in 70mm
from Christopher Nolan.
No,
yeah.
it serves exactly what you need.
He's like actually a master of
visual,
of just visually appealing shots.
Audio, like audio,
pretty
also
good.
For the explosion, like
soundtrack, really
like
good.
All the explosions and stuff.
Ludwig
were super accurate to what, because like the like the silence after the
and
nuke.
The delay, because light travels faster than sound, so you're obviously going to see it so far away, and then there's that delay, and you're like, wait, are we just not going to hear it?
Yeah, it happened with the other bombs they did as well, where
Correct.
It was like,
yeah, it was.
I liked that.
It was really good.
Very stylized, but in a very grounded way that not many people do. Normally, when a bomb goes off, you hear it straight away, as if the camera's right at the bomb.
Ludwig Göransson.
Or the explosion.
Do you know how to pronounce this guy's name? Ludwig Göransson?
Never heard of him.
He's the composer for Oppenheimer, but he's also done like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett and I think Black Panther 2.
I honestly wish John Williams did.
You mean Hans Zimmer?
Hans Zimmer. Thank you.
I
wasn't that impressed with the music.
Really? I thought it was
fine.
I like it. It served its purpose.
It did it. Yeah, but it wasn't.
It wasn't groundbreaking.
No, it was there.
It was there. I would agree.
It gave
it was good.
It gave
was
atmosphere.
Good. Yeah. And it's funny. I was told by my mate that Hans Zimmer wasn't on this because Ludwig was kind of like a protege to him because he's much younger.
Sure.
I think he's a younger guy. And Hans Zimmer has kind of like paved his way and was like, okay, now I want you to
take the torch.
Take the torch kind of thing. And like Hans Zimmer's not retired.
No.
But I think he's like, all right, this is your big moment.
Okay.
Even though he's already done an MCU film and Disney, he's worked with
I
wasn't
upset at all about it or anything like that. I just like, and there was some moments and some songs that were like, wow.
Yeah.
But other times where it was like, all right, this is
Emotional,
pretty basic movie stuff, to be honest. Like basic
I can see
action / drama.
Yep.
I'm happy to give a review now, if you want. Like
out of 10?
10.
I would, you go.
I think it's an 8.
Nice.
I think it's an 8.
I would give it a 9, personally.
8, great. That's what I like to say.
A strong
8 is a great.
A strong 8?
Just 8 is a great. It's
great?
solid. It's
I would give it
solid 8.
I would give it a 9.
9 is sublime.
Sublime? Yep. I said it was magnificent opening. So
Sublime, just like what Ryan Gosling says in Barbie.
Oh, great transition.
Sublime.
Man.
I love that he... Dude, the playfulness in that movie.
All right, we're getting in straight to Barbie now, dude.
Yeah. So
controller.
with cameos for Barbie, I think Barbie does it right. I think Barbie...
Because it's just a different nature of film, so cameos like make more sense.
It makes it more fun and playful and... what's he doing here?
John Cena?
Yeah. Oh, what's John Cena doing here?
Was
What's
great.
like...
Dua Lipa was great.
Yeah, like why is Dua Lipa
Michael
a mermaid?
Cera.
That's awesome.
Michael Cera wasn't even a cameo. He was like part of the film.
But like when I mean cameo, I just mean like having big names in like kind of smaller roles that could be done by anyone.
For sure. Yeah.
And I think it added to Barbie, and Barbie knew that.
Yeah.
Barbie.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the cameos in that worked really well, and it strengthened the movie.
Barbie, just as great for different reasons, but I really liked Barbie. It was good. Obviously, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were like picture perfect casting choices. I think the studio knew what they were doing. Like, they're both
Greta Gerwig.
They're both the pinnacles of like.
Thank you very much for that movie.
They're both like phenomenal actors. And they're both like obviously very attractive, so they both serve the purpose of being like the ideal specimen. Barbie is supposed to be like the perfect woman, and then Ken is supposed to be the perfect man to match both their perfections. So I think like just based off casting,
they are, and they also
a very good choice.
Well, I think Ken's playing Beach
Ken,
right?
Ken,
but
he was pretty
Ken, stereotypical.
He was
Barbie.
pretty much the Ken, and she was the Barbie, which they said in the film.
Yeah.
And then, dude, going in, I was like, all right, this is just going to be like a kid's Barbie movie about like, Barbie goes to the real world and explores. And
I didn't know she went to the real world.
Really?
I do nothing.
See,
about
I
the
saw
movie.
it in the trailer because I saw Will Ferrell, and I was like, oh, he's clearly like.
I'm so glad.
He's clearly like the boss of Barbie, or he was clearly the boss of Barbie or the CEO, and he was.
It's interesting how he's been the boss of Lego Movie and also Barbie. Two like.
Mattel. Oh no, Mattel doesn't own Lego. Like toy conglomerates.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I agree. That was good. I think again, great casting choice. Like Will Ferrell's a funny guy.
I love that there's 3 sex ed actors in it.
Yeah. See, I didn't pick up on the third one. The I forgot his name. I picked up on the worker. Daniel? I've picked up on the worker guy who was with Will Ferrell.
Yep, the bleach blonde guy.
The bleach blonde guy.
Dark-skinned bleach blonde guy who hugs.
He's and then the
hugs
girl who looks like Margot Robbie.
Yes.
Yeah. I should know that. Should I quickly look it up,
please?
I feel like they
deserve it.
Yeah, they do. All
right. But Aaron, who is like the underling of, or like one of like the ground dwellers of the Mattel company.
Are you talking about Eric? Is that the guy?
No.
So Maeve Wiley,
by Emma Mackey.
She was a Barbie, and it's funny. She looks like Margot Robbie. So I think
I thought they were going to play like when Barbie leaves, she'd come back.
Yeah,
and Emma Mackey would be blonde and just in her place.
I remember there was like a fan call out from like sex education fans that they wanted Margot Robbie to come into the show and be Maeve Wiley's like older sister. I remember that was like sort of pushed, but obviously it never happened. But, and then
never say never.
And then Connor Swindells, who's Adam Groff.
Yeah, so
he was like
he plays Aaron.
Yeah.
Which I think's great.
I thought he had a different name.
It was Aaron.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So
I thought Will Ferrell kept forgetting his name.
No.
Yes, this guy.
I don't think Will Ferrell forgot his name that many times. It wasn't
really.
It wasn't really a bit.
I thought it was a bit.
Nah, not really.
I thought it was like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? Like, you found out about that Barbie escaped to the real world, but like,
I don't think the name was the thing. It
No?
wasn't like
Anyway.
oh, Appley,
Okay.
come here. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Agley.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't.
I swear that was literally one of the scenes.
No, it wasn't a bit.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe he stuffed his name up once, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like a classic, like,
No, yeah.
what's your name, bitch?
Or even when Barbie entered the building into like their conference room, like everyone stood up to clap, and then he like put him down. He was like, "No, you don't get a clap," kind of thing. I don't know. We were on like a short interlude, and we were speaking to a female about the Barbie movie, and it was interesting. It was
a good perspective.
Great perspective
for
me.
for men.
Yep.
Because I only have my lived experience, and getting
Correct.
the perspective of a female gave some extra context.
Wow.
Obviously.
Yeah. Let's jump right back into it, dude. So Barbie.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot where he left off at just before our break, but screw it. Let's continue.
I'm just doing the Disney logo.
Oh, nice, dude. Disney doesn't own Barbie.
Sorry, no, but the
yeah, no, I get. You're watching Disney Channel. Yeah, nice, dude.
that sounded like your.
You know what I didn't know? Universal ran the distribution for both films, so they're making bank. They're making
Really?
bank, bro. Yeah. At least the Universal logo popped up for both films. So.
Damn.
But Warner Brothers was involved in.
Dude, might I say, I feel like there wasn't that much CGI used
for
in
Barbie.
either. Yeah.
There was quite a bit. You know the car chase? Maybe halfway through, that was a fully CGI'd car for some of the scenes, and I could like kind of tell, but like,
Oh, the mums.
yeah,
The
the
mum's
mum's
car.
car, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that was fully CGI.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like a lot of.
What?
in
Oh
the
right, there
Barbie
was
world-
quite a few. Like it was a lot of
in
makeup
the Barbie
and sets
world,
and
like
stuff.
the sets. Yeah,
That's
there was
true.
obviously like comping in stuff and like having things like they might have had.
I
Like,
mean, like when they're going to the real world, all those different scenes,
or like the extension of the Barbie world. Like
I
when
get
they
what you're
have the
saying.
whole Barbie world behind them, maybe that's like a green screen. But like a lot of the sets themselves was practical.
yeah, no, it was good. It was a
Like-
good. I feel like
a good mix.
A good
really
mix.
good
I
mix
feel like
of
a
C-
good mix is necessary.
a good
I think the best of both
integration of
worlds.
CGI.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so
What should we start on? I have.
we already sort of introduced the plot and, or like
look,
the movie.
Barbie wakes up, and
life is perfect.
Life's perfect. She lives through her day, and then she wakes up again after mentioning that at her party
She's thinking
that
about
night
death,
that she's thinking about death, and everyone's like, "What?"
and
she
she
goes,
and even she's like,
"I'm-"
"Why am I thinking about
She's
this?"
like, "I'm dying." They keep dancing, and they're like, "Woo!" And they
Yeah.
start dancing.
Good,
again.
good music, good dancing, good
Great.
choreography.
Yeah, great. Plastic music. I would say.
Wow. See, that's funny because I really enjoyed the soundtrack.
Wouldn't you say it sounds like plastic bubblegum type music?
It's just like pop music, dude.
Vanilla.
That is pop music.
It sounds pink.
You said it was
does-
when I
it does
walked
sound
in,
pink.
you were like, "That's NPC music."
Yeah, it's a mix of all.
And
the
I think
things
it's a funny idea that, like, I kind of agree with what you're saying. It's like popular things tend to be more generalized, and
I'm not even saying in like
and
a derogatory
match-
term to people.
no,
being
I get
NPC,
no,
like,
but I think it's interesting that you said that in that pop music tends to be more generalized and like they're trying to hit as a broader audience as possible,
Yes.
and therefore come across as too general or like
generic. Yeah,
correct,
sure.
and
Standard.
therefore people like us joke that it's NPC. Like, you,
Well, look, all the
like you're not
artists
a real
they got were
person if
like
you listen to it.
I like the songs.
Yeah.
They're cool. And like they just sound exactly like that. They're made for the Barbie
No,
movie.
I
Just
totally
like
get what
just
you're
like the
saying.
Lego movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar. The Lego
They
movie
knew what
and the
they were
Barbie
doing.
movie,
Yeah,
they have some similarities.
yeah.
I
I mean, both Warner Brothers, so
yeah.
potentially
Toy conglomerates.
potentially same like crew. Nice. But yeah, so Barbie goes through a second day and she's like,
And everything's going wrong.
Yep, burns her toast.
Her feet,
Her feet go flat. Yeah,
which is weird for Barbie.
Yep,
and she says,
exactly.
no, that doesn't come up.
She has a
Yeah.
cold shower
Cold shower.
and she falls off her roof.
And her milk is off. Is
Expired. Yeah.
And then she's
What's
like,
going on?
"What's going
I
on?"
love the props, by the way, like the flat fridge and like
It's cool.
how they
Very cool.
I really
the way that the world is so thought out and intertwined with,
and that she floated off a roof because it's like a girl.
it just makes so much
taking it
sense.
down.
It just
Yeah.
makes so much sense.
It was really thought out, well thought out.
Yeah. The whole concept was polished like nothing.
I said this.
nothing else.
I said this to Ethan before we recorded, but the Barbie movie, it's like when because I was speaking earlier in the podcast about how it exceeded my expectations, and I think that was attributed partly to the fact that it was so much more well thought out than I expected. Like the details, as we just mentioned, like the scenery and the set. And some of the details, exactly,
of different like styles,
bringing like a little toy to life through like life-size props and like through actors was really well. Like they had so much consideration and thought and creativity into it, and just aspects like that really, like
they made the world Barbie.
It was better. Like going into it, I was like, there's a good chance this could just be a generic Barbie, like a generic kind of movie.
Interesting. I didn't think that for a second.
It was simply about a Barbie goes to the real world and then
sure.
learns a bit about herself, and then that's it. And then it goes back to normal. But no, things changed. It wasn't like a Simpsons episode where things always go back to normal. There was true change in both worlds.
They did definitely subvert my expectations. I think her going to the real world was like probably the most conventional thing that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
but they made it unconventional.
I've seen that before.
Just merely the way they got there, it's like it seemed like kind of silly. Like they just take a bunch of different types of transport.
It's funny.
They go car, boat.
It was an absurd
rocket ship,
movie.
Rollerblading.
They go
caravanning,
and then they go into the
and then they just are there.
Yeah. So anyway, Barbie thinks she's broken. She goes to Weird Barbie, and as she's getting dressed for Weird Barbie's house, she puts on her high heels and she's like I would never. I would never wear these if my feet were like this.
That was a really good joke.
Such a good joke.
That was
it went over a lot of people's heads in this.
No, yeah, but
it's a little side quip that you don't really hear.
Yeah, but it makes. I agree, dude. Like I feel like
uncomfy.
High heels would be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've worn them a couple times.
Yeah. Actual.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. But yeah. So then
they're not very comfy.
Yeah, and then Weird Barbie gives Barbie the Matrix spiel about you can stay in this world or you can find the truth, and she's like, "Oh, I want to stay."
No, she says she doesn't say stay here or not. It's like if you stay here, you'll keep degenerating.
No, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
But like for Barbie,
it was like the red pill, blue pill.
Not really.
Yes.
I think the red pill.
But then she was like, "You have to
pill,
take the red pill."
No, the red pill.
They were literally doing a trope from the Matrix. No,
the red pill, blue pill is 100% at the end with the when she has to decide when she decides whether she's going to.
Do you get what I'm saying though? They're like clearly making a reference to the Matrix.
I understand. It's maybe I'm being too.
But I get what you're saying in that it's not literally like the red pill and blue pill.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then she goes to the real world with Ken.
With Ken.
Ken comes along on the way.
Ken just wants Barbie, man. Like
that's all his whole purpose is.
He's just in love with her and he wants to be with her. And because because every night is girls' night, he doesn't get to spend time with her and he's sad.
Check. Oh, sorry, I thought my mic.
And then he gets and then he comes along with her because he's like, I gotta prove my love to you,
and I've got to keep her safe. Very knight in shining armor of him, which will be revealed later. That is not necessarily what is needed or what Barbie wants.
Exactly. Then they arrive.
They arrive in the real world, and Barbie goes straight to a school and starts to talk to the girl.
They get a few things happen.
They get arrested.
They get pandered and sexualized, and Ken feels the respect, and Barbie feels the like negative side of the world. Like their roles start to flip.
Ken feels like the king. Yeah. She feels like degraded.
Yeah, correct. Exactly right. And then they get arrested, and then they go to the school, right?
Yeah, and Mattel is now on their asses.
Yeah,
Aaron gets a call, and he goes up to the head office, who no one ever does.
Yeah. The elevator, it's like all the way up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go all the way up.
Yeah.
Goes all the way up. And
it's just an boardroom of male executives.
Painted rainbow. And they're just like patting themselves on the back.
Yeah. Oh, so good, man.
And Will Ferrell, Aaron talks to Aaron does like a Chinese whisper too.
That was great,
dude. The jokes are so smart in it.
It was funny when that happened. Good. When they did the Chinese whisper thing,
I thought it was
going to be messed up, and then they did. I was like, oh, interesting.
Another a version to what you thought was going to happen.
Yeah, it was good.
so then Mattel's trying to find her. Barbie goes to the school, and
Not necessarily, like, they're not necessarily the bad guys either. They do just want, like,
yeah, they're not even.
what did it mean to be back in the box? It didn't really
I
explain
think she was going to go back to the world.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, it was just going to reset her.
Yeah.
That was a red. She had 3 red pill, blue pill moments.
Yeah.
That was probably the most real. Of
Yeah,
them.
like they were. There was like the life-size, like,
Yeah.
what is that even called?
Wire.
The twisty wire
wire
that
thing.
like holds toys in their boxes. Yeah.
But I would say that like that. That was the most like.
And it's funny, she wanted to go home as well.
Yeah,
she was
but
like, "Yeah, send me home,
wipes,
please."
I think it was like
This world sucks.
It
Get me
wipes your
back.
memory, and you'll go back to normal.
Yeah.
So that was truly red pill, blue pill. She
And then
gets
she's
so
like, "Wait, I need to
comfy.
explore this a little bit
What's
more.
going on?
Yeah.
I need to run.
And she's
Other
like, "Where's
things-
Ken?"
Other things happen. Ken goes back, makes a patriarchy of
Trucks
the Barbie
and
world.
horses.
So what was the Barbie world called? Just
Barbie Land. I
Barbie
think,
Land,
yeah.
and he turns it into Ken.
Ken Land.
Ken
Oh no,
Land?
Ken
Ken
Kenville. Yeah, the plane of smoke
Yeah,
kind of went
changes it into Ken something, but
Yeah.
changes Barbie's dream house into
over. The dojo
the dojo Casa
house.
house or something. Like
So just house. Yeah,
So
which
good.
is great. Yeah,
And
and every night is boys' night now.
every night's
Let's
boys'
go.
night,
Yeah, the boys.
and
It's funny, man. Like, I could obviously relate to Ken a lot more than I could relate to Barbie, but I could also very much relate to Barbie. I think
that's so interesting to
it's
say that.
it's great. Like,
How? I couldn't relate to Ken.
you couldn't relate to Ken at all.
Not really.
Really?
That sounds like I'm like lying or whatever, or Oh,
you don't
no,
want
man.
you don't want love?
That's not what Ken.
Yes, it was.
No, but him being in Casa Ken and
Remember how they talked on the roof in the bedroom at the very end?
sure. I mean,
They both were like open and honest with one another, and they spoke about.
honestly, I don't feel close. I don't.
They spoke
relate
about their
to Ken.
flaws.
I don't think I
What?
relate to Ken, dude.
Bro, I'm Kenough, all right? You're Kenough.
I know
Ken-
I'm Kenough.
Good.
We're all Kenough.
I think it's funny. I saw a Ryan Gosling interview during a premiere, and he was like, and an interviewer was asking him like, "Oh, where do you get all this Kenergy from? Ken energy, and he's like, "It's within you the whole time, man. It's
Doesn't he say
it's
you
there
are
from the
Kenough?
start. You are Kenough.
And no one knew.
The Kenergy is there for like you don't need to look any further than within. It's always going to be there."
Yeah.
And I think that
The
I
marketing for that movie
Oh.
has been amazing.
They knew what
And
they were
then
doing.
Oppenheimer as
I
well.
can't
has
believe
been
you don't relate to
silent
Ken at
marketing.
all.
I don't know. He's a guy.
He's the male lead.
It's I see.
Are you
his,
are you almost choosing not to?
No, I'm
you
not.
genuinely just didn't.
As I was watching, I was like, I get what's
No, but
happening to him.
even
but
Ken exploring the patriarchy, the man's world, and how like we love sports and we love sex and men are better than women and trucks and sport and cars and fashion and we want to be the top at the top.
like, drink some brewskis. And
Yeah, and like he
'cause
went to the corporate office and
he
they
kind of
and he was like, "Hold on, Sharon, let's not talk right now." Like and even going to the doctor, he's like, "Can I speak to a real doctor?" You are speaking to a real doctor.
I don't relate to that. Do you relate to that?
No.
I understand.
I'm
what you're
explaining.
saying.
So he's seeing all this, and then he's like,
Wait,
and then
boys
he
are all
brings
that.
he brings all those ideas back to the Barbie land,
once
and
again,
then applies it, and then he starts to realize, wait, this isn't good either.
honestly,
and
I
and-
understand where Ken's coming from because
That's what I mean. That's what I relate with.
I don't relate to him or anyway. I really don't. But I understand.
I want to
like,
be seen.
when I don't.
Ken just wants to be seen.
But I don't personally relate. I'm
Yeah.
also just like the men of the Barbie world.
Mhm.
They haven't where have they been living? Like that was such an
That's
interesting-
funny. They didn't even
like stuff like
that
that.
was like a joke, but also where do they
like
live?
they're kind of the Wreck-It Ralph almost of
Yeah, that's good.
not
That's
they're
good.
they're not criticized like Wreck-It Ralph, but like
They're just kind of put aside.
they're there.
They're just there to
And-
serve the purpose.
To
Purpose.
serve the idea of
What were you
it's
saying?
Barbie and Ken.
Yeah,
right.
Ken is nothing.
He's an
without Barbie.
accessory.
Yeah,
And he felt like an accessory. And for the first time, Ken, like he was like a schoolboy. That's why,
Yeah.
like, it didn't feel gross. It was like, oh, he's getting so excited by like, wait, so I'm a guy, and you guys looking for men, right? Like with that business guy who was like,
yeah.
like, oh, it's just a it's just an act. Like
Yeah.
we're just hiding it better.
Yeah, that
Stuff
was
like-
great.
Like
that was great.
oh, like we actually don't seek men anymore. He's like, but this is a man's world. He's like, oh, I know, but we're just hiding it better.
That was really.
It was good.
I love that line. That was a good line.
But for that, like he was like a boy in like a candy shop. Like, oh my god, we do for the first time ever. I feel
recognized. Yeah, exactly.
So in that way, like I totally see where.
But
Ken's
there's
from.
flaws to that
Sure.
mindset.
Yeah, and he's in that moment as well. He's also just a big dumb man. Like he's being a big dumb man.
No,
who's like
exactly.
But
like his desires are flawed, but there is also like there is truth to what he wants. Like
of course, and I think it's just like flawed is a good way to say it. But I feel like we've talked enough about the plot.
Yeah,
we've skimmed over. There's
some
a bit
aspects,
we've missed,
yeah.
but whatever. Who cares?
I think that. Sorry, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say, the performances of people were Ryan Gosling was incredible as Ken.
Ryan Gosling was good.
The way that he like somehow matched both playfulness, whimsical, silly, and also being all of those things, even when he was being emotional. Like he's being
his
emotional,
acting range he's actually a phenomenal actor.
He's being emotional, but still being weird and silly, and like not by accident, not by
totally
any
get what you're
purpose.
saying. There were layers to his performance.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
and I love how
he has to be happy, pretending to be sad, pretending to be happy or something.
Yeah, and I love how like the intimate conversations that he has with Barbie or
the other Kens.
They're mainly the ones you see, but like, or like the one with the other Ken, like they're intimate. And I wanted to bring this up, like the privacy in public aspect of the movie, where it's like, and you don't really see it in any other movie where like characters are informed of situations between two people that are typically private.
Yeah.
That will obviously influence other characters' knowledge about the two characters. Because normally things like that aren't normal to listen to. But none of the characters feel like it's weird because it's Barbie world, and so it's like they're having an argument, and it's like, oh, what's happening over here?
Yeah.
Oh, they're having an argument. We're gonna watch, and it's like so innocent.
They're not actually invested. They're just there.
Well, but they're so innocent that they don't feel
totally
awkward about it, and it's such an interesting thing to pull in a movie, and I think this movie's perfect for it because of course dolls.
Wow, dude, that's good insight.
Of course, dolls aren't going to have any
emotions or feelings,
personal judgment or anything like there's no judgment. It was
basically what the film was basically saying was like these the Barbies and the Kens, they experience emotion. They experience the same emotions what their owner experiences, which are kids primarily. And that's how Barbie's death, like thoughts of death and anxiety came about, was because the mum, the audience was led to believe that it was the girl growing up and feeling these emotions, but it was actually the mum picking up the Barbie doll and reminiscing on her childhood and how her daughter's growing up.
Pick up on that a bit earlier than the reveal?
I did.
I picked up
as soon as the
the
receptionist lady. Yeah, exactly. As soon as she was the receptionist drawing, I was like, oh, she's
influenced.
She's definitely the mum of the Barbie owner, and if not the reason
it's
Barbie, the true reason Barbie's here.
Yeah,
but
I
still
thought
a great
it was the girl grown up.
Ah, interesting.
Because I was like, oh,
you know what? I might have thought that too, actually. Because they did actually look alike.
Yeah,
it was good casting.
Really good.
But then she went to the school and then was like, wait, there's the girl and there's clearly like the main girl and the main mom.
Yes.
But yeah, that was great, man. But yeah, so it explored gender roles, I think, in a roundabout way. I think it covered. Again,
not in a roundabout way.
No, sorry,
pretty directly.
Sorry, not around. Like they encompassed it.
Sure.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Enveloped the whole idea pretty well.
They did it very well, considering it was when you dull it down.
Don't call it a kids movie, man.
But it's
a kids product.
To an extent,
I don't think
is
it's a kids movie.
I get what you're saying. The movie is about a children's toy. Yes. But it is not a kids film.
Yeah.
They very well they crafted this film well in that it can appeal to a broad audience,
And
children
for
and
different
adults
ways.
alike. Correct.
Yeah.
As you were saying with like some of the vocabulary and dialogue, it would go over children's heads. But as an older person, they still get the message.
Yeah.
Without understanding the words of the message.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Barbies are getting better.
Yeah.
They're getting fixed because the mum's helping them understand.
Yep.
Whereas for us, it's like, oh, she's pointing out the imbalances in the patriarchy, and from her lived experience as a person, as a woman in America, or the world in general. And she's kind of just giving them her perspective, which was a good insight into her life as well. Gave you the inner workings of her as a character. Obviously, it was her personal experience, so like you can't dog on that too much. I think parts of
I thought she was a well-rounded character in that
she was great.
The mum was like, yeah, I experienced all this bad stuff in my life, all this negativity, all this anxiety, all these problems. But that's part of life. Like that, it is what it is. Like I can't. Like, am I just gonna sit down and just take it? Like, no. I just have to live my life with the good and the bad. And I think that was the overall message of the film. Was like, men have problems, women have problems, but that doesn't make either of us the villain. I think we both are in this world together, and I think together we can make it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But yes. I do think that it was.
I think that's what they were trying to say. Inherently, in the context of the
movie, it is more so pointing towards like female empowerment.
Agreed, 100%.
And the struggle of females. It's coming from Greta Gerwig's perspective as well.
Yeah,
obviously.
for sure. Female director.
Did she write it?
I think she was. I think she was. Part of the screenplay or the writing process.
Sure.
Let me explain it like this. In our real world, there is
disparity between
men and women.
Still,
but overall things have gotten better over time.
Sure.
Things are a lot better than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. In the movies, what?
Well, actually, we were after 1,000 years ago, the Catholic Church basically created the patriarchy that we see.
Well,
now. Because
that's
of the pagans and stuff, and the murderings and of.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to go into that, but
I know because you're
No,
Catholic,
not even that. Just simply because I feel like I knew you knew that anyway, and the context wasn't necessary. Anyway,
sorry guys.
No, it's fine, dude.
That was a bit blue.
No, I totally agree. By the way,
I think it was a matriarchy.
That's a fact.
Beforehand,
I'm pretty sure matriarchy is led by women.
Yeah, right? I think it was a matriarchy before the pagan.
Anyway,
villainized females.
Let me explain my point, and then you can totally critique it.
No. Go ahead.
No, I want you to. But this is there's our real world, the audience's real world. Like, it is true that men to an extent do rule the world. And then I think in the real world within the film, I think they reflected our real world quite well.
If anything, they amplified it.
They did exaggerate it too, and they did that to reflect on Barbie Land, which was women rule that world.
And the whole
so it tried to it was showing the extremes of each. Exactly.
And I think
and they were thrust between the worlds, and it was shown, and the audience, as well as Barbie and Ken, the characters, were shown the goods and the bads with both the worlds.
Yeah, and I don't think it's even oversimplifying the real world in the movie. If anything, it's just it's magnifying the issue to show that it is also an issue. Yeah, and to show Barbie's perspective from going from a fully female-run thing. Where the females have, like, the Barbies have houses. Yeah. Kens, they don't think about. They're just accessories.
Yeah.
And then from that stark change from her going...
And then it's basically the polar opposite.
Exact polar opposite. So for her, it would feel like, what is going on? So if anything, it's kind of from Barbie's perspective in a sense. And Ken, because they're the two, they have the same perspective.
Yeah.
Barbie
in Barbie Land experiences basically what men experience in the real world is basically what the film's saying, right? to an extent.
Yeah,
and then
similar,
and then Ken,
I'd say there's more discrimination on
and
our
then
part,
Ken kind of,
in the
and
real
then
world.
Ken kind of feels like how a woman would feel like in the real world, and then it's completely swapped. Ken realizes, hey, I'm more than just an accessory to Barbie, and Barbie's like, wait, I'm no longer this great person.
Yeah.
I'm now
Would
not
you-
second rate, but I'm not as important as I was
Yeah.
back in the other
Would you
back
say
in Barbie
that,
land.
Would you say that Ken almost, like, the world that Ken created was almost like a 50s world?
Like era, like the
1950s.
1950s.
Yeah. It felt like Wild West
Well,
at some points, and
I
also
think it
1950s
was-
inspired. Not like, it didn't feel like modern day
No.
bureaucracy.
Well, it's funny that like in terms of like technology, there were like TVs and there were like punching bags and there was like clearly modern fashion that what they were wearing and like volleyball at the beach and stuff. I get what you're saying though. I think
Maybe-
what it, I
maybe
think
the
what it
books
was,
he had
it was a
were-
complete like stereotypical. It was the stereotypical like
Boys.
alpha male
Yeah.
kind of behavior and enjoyments that we have, like,
And his
like trucks and
his
sports and
almanac-
fighting and
His almanac
hate
were
men.
the
That-
4 books
yeah.
that he picked up from the library.
Yeah.
The 4 books taught him everything.
yeah.
That and his lived experience for 20 minutes were
Yeah,
the doctrine that
Correct.
he created
Yeah.
for their society.
Yeah,
And
which was and it was funny,
but yeah, in that regard, like,
but it was also insightful.
I think, and I don't think they villainized Ken really. Like, there was no sense
No.
of like, because
there was almost no villain,
no, not really. No, you're right, because and I loved that.
and that wasn't bad. No,
Oh my god, someone said that someone said to me that they couldn't find that they feel like they couldn't identify the hero. Who
The hero?
was.
Barbie.
The mum. Barbie.
Yeah,
Women.
I think it's harder. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think they were all. I mean, clearly they were all protagonists because they were all struggling. Barbie was struggling. Mr. Struggle.
What? Is that a Mr. Men?
No, it's a Cody Co bit, Mr. Struggle. But but yeah, Ken was struggling, Barbie was struggling,
That's
the
cringe,
mum was
dude.
struggling. I know.
No, go ahead.
And then yeah, and even Will Ferrell, like even Mattel wasn't really the villain. Like they kind of portrayed themselves that way because
Yeah.
they're a evil, corrupt business conglomerate that only cares about money and sales.
I think as a character, they're very flawed. Like, let's call Mattel a character because
Yeah,
they all
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
believe the same thing.
yeah,
As a character, they do feel very flawed, and their ideals
Self-aware.
and attitudes and values are wrong,
yeah.
and all they care about is money. Like, they
Yeah.
were like, oh, that's
But
like,
it's
oh,
kind of
the mum-
ironic because in real life that actually is.
but it's like,
probably
oh,
true.
the mum sells. Yeah,
It holds more truth than you think.
they're just kind of capitalism, really.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a great the themes of
Personification
capitalism
of capitalism.
and consumerism was also explored quite well.
I thought it was honestly one
In
of
that-
the funniest
yeah.
movies I've seen in
Yeah,
a
it was
long
funny.
time.
Even at the end where Will Ferrell's CEO character was like, "Wait, we're making a bunch of money off this? Oh, you guys can keep doing this. That's
Exactly.
chill. Because we want like what-
We're not going to do that. It'll
what
make a lot of money.
What Barbie did they want? It was like
The mum suggested
everyday
like,
Barbie.
make an everyday Barbie.
Yeah,
who's,
everyday
who-
Barbie.
And I like how she was like, make a mum who's this or a mum who's
Yeah,
that, because
yeah.
she was like, make a mum,
yeah.
but it doesn't have to be a mum.
Because I want a Barbie.
Yeah,
Everyone wants a Barbie. No,
Yeah.
for sure. Funny side note: did you ever have a Barbie growing up or a Ken?
I used to watch a lot of Barbie.
Oh,
When I was younger,
like
'cause-
the animated shows.
Yeah, dude, the movies.
Interesting.
I'm a fanatic, one might say.
Cool, dude.
Well, past me. Yeah,
A Kenatic?
I'm a banatic, a barnatic.
A Barbanatic?
Yeah, I would say that the reason I got into Barbie
Yeah.
was because my sisters, like, they used to have
Uh-huh.
Barbies and stuff, and they used to
Interesting.
watch the movies, and I, like, at first was like, no, I don't want to watch this, like, that's boring, and then they'd watch the movies, and I'd sit down and watch them, and then I'd end up being like, can we watch Barbie tonight with my sisters, and
That's
they'd be
awesome,
like,
dude.
okay. So
That's great.
I have a pretty vast and experienced knowledge
Yeah,
of Barbie
yeah.
and the movies. I never watched like the Life in the Dream House or whatever. I watched more like 12 Dancing Princesses.
no idea.
You don't know what I'm talking about? There's TV shows.
But it's great that you know.
There's
what
TV
these
shows
are.
that I didn't watch,
Gotcha.
which are probably closer to this. The Barbie.
Oh, what? It explores similar themes?
Life in the Dream House is in their little city.
Uh-huh.
As opposed to what I was watching was like Barbie in a kingdom with a king. Like Ken was often a prince, or no, Ken wasn't a prince. There was sometimes Ken wasn't, like a lot of the time there wasn't a Ken, or Ken was like Barbie's modern love. There's like,
I think Ken was an essential part of this movie.
He was a knockout performance. Barbie was amazing. Honestly, I loved everyone's performance.
Everyone
in
had
this
a great.
movie.
Everyone did.
Like hats off to that production.
Even Michael
so
Cera
good.
as Alan. That
He
was so
sick.
funny.
He was so.
He acted
Will Ferrell, dude. That guy who suggested, like, when Will Ferrell was like something's gonna happen that we don't even like understand or won't be able to conceive, and then the guy came up with like 2 random ideas.
Yeah.
They were the funniest 2 ideas. I just cracked up.
What were, I can't remember.
Like he was like, for example, he's like 20 Mexican like salsas, like all in tandem, or like
That's
he
right.
just suggested 2 random things. I was like,
that's right.
Like, this actor is like, I want to see that guy more. I've seen him before, but he was really.
I liked
good.
as well how they were like kind of poking fun at the fact that like when it's all just men together, we're just dumb. Like
too much testosterone.
There was that when Ken instructed them to build the wall and they were just like building up. they didn't know how to build like sideways.
I like
jokes like that were funny.
Once they figure out how to build sideways, it'll be
we're
over.
doomed. Yeah, because then we can't escape. But now they can just easily escape because
and like the radio. When it changed to like
Ken
Radio.
yeah, that was good.
Oh, your radio is going to be broadcasted from Ken Radio.
Yeah, that was great.
like
So
some
good,
country
man.
song.
Yep, I love it. Oh, and even the guitar scene's like, every guy just wants to play guitar to a girl.
And all of them are playing the same song.
Yeah. It's great, dude.
Same
and then they all
song,
rotate, and then
the cheating.
And then it's like, who are we trying to impress just women, or are you trying to impress a specific woman? Like that was kind of the message, because like they were just like rotating.
Well, also
all the Barbies just changed their Kens in that big circle scene when they're playing guitar.
And I love.
And then
but
then they're both disappointed. They're like, wait, I want to be with my actual Ken.
And it was like it wasn't even that.
Barbie and Ken were both getting sad.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Ken was getting sad, but then Barbie was getting sad in that moment.
Barbie
as well.
didn't care.
No, I'm pretty sure she did.
Oh, you know why Barbie
Maybe I'm
cared?
misremembering.
She didn't want to hurt Ken's feelings.
That's what I meant.
I just realized I have like a
literally,
Hell Fresh.
Literally within that scene,
she was talking about.
She had a moment of realization where she was like, "Wait, this is really awful."
Before they did that, she was like, am I gonna hurt Ken forever?
So,
and the mum was like, no, you'll be fine.
So they weren't actually controlling. They weren't trying to bring. When it was Barbie Land and then it became Ken Land, they weren't trying to bring back. They were initially trying to bring back Barbie Land, but then they sort of realized, wait, Barbie Land wasn't perfect initially either. It's got to be kind of a mix.
I don't even think they said that.
No, I kind of felt that especially when
it seemed like.
I think no. Okay, I'm pretty sure they came to the conclusion that that things shouldn't be the way they started out as. There has to be change.
I feel like that
in
happened,
both worlds.
I feel like that happened when Ken and Barbie had that conversation.
Yeah,
up on the
that's
roof.
100% agreed.
Because that's when it opened up. Like, I am Ken.
Yeah.
Like Ken is me.
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
was.
That
Ken
was
is
great.
me. Everyone's like, Ken is me.
They both opened up about their experiences and their flaws throughout their adventure, and they were like, "Yeah, we're both like I've made mistakes, you've made mistakes, and that's part of growth and change." And
man,
I thought it was a great message,
yeah.
especially as like either for like couples or just being a man or being a woman
to have autonomy
or being
over yourself.
exactly. Yep, I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it, with the whole movie as a whole, like
Agreed.
the cinematography, and the stylistic choices that they made with like the panel,
live. They were able to adapt essentially a toy. Like the live action was really really
the stage,
great.
the kind of like the I don't know what you'd call it, but the it's like what they do like in theater or musicals when they have like when you want to show traveling, you have like the stable object
and then
you have the moving
moving
background.
Yeah, that was
so
great.
they had that when they were traveling to and from.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So many good visual gags.
And then they made like the joke
15...
of when the 15 guys were all going back, they were all together. That was really funny. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Like I think the soundtrack was awesome, like we've talked about.
I don't think we even did. We talked about it off camera, but not now.
NPC music.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Ice Spice was great.
Dude, that song went off.
That song did go off. Sam Smith, Charlie XCX.
I don't know how often I don't know how many of them I'd actually put
Dua
in the
Lipa.
playlist.
Dua Lipa was great. I'm so glad she cameoed. Love Dua Lipa.
And it wasn't just
John Cena.
It wasn't just one cameo.
No, she
came back
one
a
or
couple
two
times,
scenes.
which was cool.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah, the ending for me was like the most powerful.
Yeah.
When Barbie was like in
the real world at the very
in that liminal space.
When she was talking to Ruth, the creator. Oh, dude, when Ruth was like, "I made this for my daughter."
Yeah.
That was beautiful. When she was like, I made this for myself, but I also made this to connect with my daughter. Like the two, I wanted to better our relationship. I didn't really, in the beginning, I didn't do this for the money. I just simply did this for love and connection. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, for sure. And like, even, hold up.
Seeing if we forgot anything.
No. I know that there's something I want to quote.
Oh, go for it, dude.
I don't think I said this on the pod. I think I was just talking to you about it.
Yeah, say it.
It's on my phone. Okay. Barbie says, no. Ruth says something about like in that conversation, and I noticed that I was like feeling quite emotional, just her talking about it and stuff, and how life is hard. Well, do you not want to misserve the quote? Do you want to? No. I'm happy to say it
verbatim.
No, I'm happy to say it. To say it.
Okay.
Yeah, just like that whole conversation about that life's imperfect, and Barbie's kind of struggle with that idea, with the idea of what should I do? She's feeling lost. She feels purposeless. She feels like Ken as well, in a sense. Like her and Ken are more similar than I think they both think.
They both had instances where they were both experiencing like
insignificance.
Yeah,
they felt insignificant and unimportant. And when Barbie was crying about how she feels ugly, and then like Helen Mirren's like, okay, just for reference, probably not the best idea to cast Margot Robbie for this scene. So good.
I love that
Helen Mirren was great.
They just paused the entire film and just added a bit of narration. That was great.
I think it happened a couple times with Helen Mirren saying little interjections. I feel like there was one other time.
I know she opened the
maybe
movie
with
Weird
narration.
Barbie
or something. Like she might have
maybe
paused.
Weird Barbie. Yeah, that sounds right.
Weird Barbie is great. I don't have a lot of faith in that actress. I didn't.
Oh yeah,
because I've seen her in other roles.
I thought it was Pink for a moment.
But I've seen her in other roles. Yeah, and on SNL, and I feel like she plays a pretty similar role,
right?
But this one, because she normally plays weird, but differently.
Maybe that's why they cast her.
Weird Barbie for her was, and I was hoping she'd just be a small role. She was incredible.
What's the term? Typecasting.
Typecast. I don't think she was typecast. I think they. Well, maybe she was typecast.
That's something that can relate to Oppenheimer and Barbie, where the typecasting is a problem in the movie industry.
No, I think they both
like Chris Pratt. This is totally off topic, but for example, like Chris Pratt doesn't. He says he hasn't auditioned for a film in 10 years, which I think is crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
No, but don't you think that's a bit? Don't you think that like kind of undermines the whole like idea of like the acting process? Like you need to earn this role, not based off your like success and like relevance. It should be. I don't know. It's a weird issue. I thought I'd just quickly mention it, but I don't know.
It's interesting.
Like, it was crazy to me that he's like, I haven't since Guardian. It hasn't been quite 10 years. It's been close to 10 years since Guardians of the Galaxy. He hasn't auditioned for a role. He's just been offered roles, which I think is impressive on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Anyway, a conversation can be had there. I don't know if this is a podcast.
No, exactly. I just thought I'd quickly mention it
because I feel like that's a can of worms.
But, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but no,
but she was great.
Fair. She was awesome. I was actually really impressed with her. I think she was one of my favorite, to be honest, of the performers. It's just like she just gave a really unique performance that I personally would have hoped like Timothée Chalamet's Wonka to have a feeling of.
Nice, dude. That's good.
Because her weirdness was also self-aware. She was a very endearing character. Very endearing.
She knew who she was.
She did. I really liked it. I really liked her character. Man. And she seemed like she as a character knew who she was.
That was great.
Uh,
Even all like the dance, even we didn't even touch on like the men versus men war.
yes. Right after the Ken dispute.
And then they were like,
with
wait,
the
who we actually
guitars.
they were like, we hate men. Be like, wait, if men are fighting men, like if the men
Well, they
are
were
fighting,
dancing. No, they were doing
no,
the
yeah,
dance.
but when at nighttime when they were all talking on the roof, they were like, wait, if we're fighting men, who are we
if we're
really
fighting, no, if Kens are fighting Kens,
Yeah.
how do we know who we're fighting?
Yeah, exactly. And that
it's
was
like,
great.
look, we're going to attack at 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that changes anything.
Yeah.
Just ultimate confidence in themselves.
Yeah, that was great.
And then they go,
And
they have their war, and then they
I'm
just cut
just
into,
Ken.
then they just cut into this beautiful backdrop of like,
yeah, all the fighting.
like such a good practical stage.
Awesome.
So the fighting, and then it cut into, I also like how the real world person got injured.
oh, really?
Like the guy,
Oh, like
the
you
guy
can
who I
die.
said was funny,
Right,
the
yeah.
guy who I said was funny when he got like shot by something.
Yeah.
He was like, wait, are they using actual weapons?
The dart, it was just like a sticky
Oh,
dart.
I did nothing even stuck,
No,
but he got
yeah.
hit with something,
Yeah.
and then he was in a cast later on in the movie.
Oh,
One of the suits.
I didn't pick up on that. That was great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
I liked the fact that it's like they were just like senselessly fighting and like they didn't experience pain essentially.
and then they stopped. Well, they didn't even stop. It just went.
they realized.
No, it just went dance. It just went dance sequence, and then they were all the two front men were like together.
Yeah.
Locked
Hold
in
my hand
arms.
there and they're holding hands. Oh, it was great.
And
So
then
good.
then they stopped to dance. They're like, wait, if we're here, didn't we have to sign the declaration today? And he's like, oh yeah, we did have that today.
Yeah.
And I loved how they weren't like. That's what's beautiful about this movie is like because they're dolls, they're so, kind of blissfully unaware, and they don't have any like inkling of we've been betrayed. Which in most movies you'd have that. That's why this movie's so inventive.
Right,
and
they don't
interesting.
even know the sense of betrayal.
No, so they don't expect like
Yeah.
like when they're like, wait, we're fighting. We need to be signing the document. He's like,
Right, I
Yeah,
get what you're
true.
saying. Like the
It's not
the
like
way
the
they
girls.
spoke, the way they especially in the beginning of the film, like they didn't know particular like ideas and stuff. Like
yeah,
they
I
were
feel a
like they were
certain
trying to explain an
uncomfortability.
emotion without knowing what the emotion was,
Which was also very
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool. Yeah, I like that.
So
Wow, man.
talking about this movie is honestly making me think I might bump it up.
That's great, dude. That's great.
Craziness is
Awesome.
about to happen on the dance
Wow.
floor right now.
Do you have any closing remarks? Was there anything on that?
My quote.
Yeah.
The late Ruth says to Barbie, when she's talking about, how, the struggles of life and
Uh-huh.
also how she made Barbie for her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and said, mothers stand still so that they can look back and see their daughters grow, or like see their daughters, something in that tune. And I thought that was really a really magical
That's
point.
great, man. Yeah.
I haven't quite recited it well enough.
No.
So if you got this far into the podcast and you still haven't seen the movie,
Thank you.
go watch it
Yeah.
so that you can get the proper
sure.
quote.
I thought it was great.
And also when
yeah.
Barbie saw life happening and she just goes,
that was
yes.
Wow.
When it just like, when she was getting the montage of
Yeah,
stuff happening
yeah.
in life and it cut back to her and she went, yes.
Mm.
And just kind of disappeared into the real
sure.
world.
That
and
was
then
beautiful.
And I loved the scene at the end as well. With like the play on, she's going for a job interview when she wasn't.
And then what did she get? A colonoscopy?
Her gynecologist.
Gynecologist.
Yeah.
Wait, so she spawned genitals. Is what?
She's a human now.
She's a human now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Did Ken go with her? No. There we go.
Of course not.
Interesting.
Ken's his own man.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks? Those are mine.
Nah,
I'm
man. I think
happy.
we covered a lot, and I'm happy. Going into this podcast, I was worried that we wouldn't cover. We would miss a few things here and there, or get stuck, or we had so much to talk about off camera, and we were like, let's save it for the podcast. And I was worried we then wouldn't actually have anything to speak about. But I feel like we've explored both these films really, I think well enough.
I hope this has been like
insightful.
I don't know how it is to watch or listen to a hour 45 podcast about two movies. But
it's Barbenheimer, man.
It's Barbenheimer. I mean, I love a good film essay on YouTube.
Yeah, me too. As do I.
This is pretty similar. I think it's not as constructed or scripted,
no.
but it comes from the heart. From the heart
We're
of our
speaking just off the top of our heads.
from our yolks.
We did very little. There we go, dude.
Our yolks are bleeding,
Exactly.
and we're giving you our.
Yeah. So closing
thoughts.
closing rating for the film. You didn't rate it. Do you want me to go first this time?
Yeah, go on.
I would also give it a 9 out of 10. So therefore, I would give both the films a 9 out of 10,
So
and therefore I would give Barbenheimer a 9 out of 10.
An 18 out of 20.
An 18 out of 20.
We don't need to take it down to its most simple form. I think 18 out of 20 gives you a full scope of the...
Yep, 9 apiece each.
9 apiece.
There we go.
I think,
how about you, my man?
I think it's going to be... I don't know what's holding me back from... I think because the conversation has influenced me a bit.
Do you want me to quickly add something
Please.
before you do it? You spoke earlier about how you were almost predicting that I would prefer Barbie over Oppenheimer, and I think I do ever so slightly. I think
It's hard to say, isn't it?
They just are different movies, man. Like kids can't watch Oppenheimer,
No.
but kids can watch Barbie.
Well, they wouldn't want to. It'd be so
But
boring.
I was intrigued. I was excited to see both. I enjoyed both.
And the feeling you get from
and
both
they were
is so
both,
different.
through different reasons and different emotions, great movies. And so I think I would give them both equally a 9 out of 10, even though I might slightly prefer Barbie.
8.5.
8.5.
8.5 out of 10.
So
Barbie.
I bumped you up a 0.5.
I think the conversation...
Was
that was what I was thinking already. And you talking about it just kind of made me realize that, like, there's no point... Like, regardless of how different they are, I need to be solid on how I feel about it. Nope. Yeah, I think here's my reason for it to be 8.5. I think that it brings up some really important things that haven't really been spoken about a lot.
Gender roles in society.
Gender roles in society. It's a massive talking point, but
sure.
in a movie, and the way that they integrated it into the movie was so caring. Yeah, was so thoughtful.
They actually explored all aspects of. I mean, most of the aspects of the issue. They did really well. They
got to the bottom of things and really revealed it in a way that young girls can see. I think this movie advocates. Well, it does. This movie advocates for women in such a way that it feels like it's made to inspire and uplift women in particular.
Sure.
I think it's more important.
And men.
It's I would say it's more important.
Yeah.
If I was to show this to men or women, oh damn, actually, it's both.
I totally get what you're saying. It was made for women by women.
Yes,
which I think
but also
which is funny.
For
That's
men,
for
men to understand women's plight.
In the film, I'm pretty sure they said Barbie is made for women by women. Maybe
something
not.
Like that.
But it's funny because the Barbie movie is also made somewhat in the same way. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, female director. That's it's not unheard of, but
it passes the Bechdel test, might I say?
For sure, for sure, dude. Wow. Did Oppenheimer pass the Bechdel test? I don't think it did, bro. Interesting. Anyway.
I'm not sure. But yeah. So 16.5 out of 20.
Wow. There we go. So what's the aggregate? Oh, that's...
We'll add up to 40 and then divide it by...
20... 30.
What did you get?
34.5 out of 40?
34.5 out of 40. Quick maths.
Is that right?
Yeah, but then let's try and simplify that down to an average.
Nah, I'm good, bro. Oh, out of 10?
998, 8.5.
No. Oh, wait, I can do it on my calculator watch. Look at it. Wait, so you want 34.5?
Oh, okay, I'm going to guess.
Wait, don't guess. Hold on.
I want to guess first what the average of it all is.
So you want it out of 10? You want 34.5 out of 40 to be out of 10? Okay.
Okay, you get it, and then I'm going to guess.
Oh, wait.
This is more for personal enjoyment, everyone. So yeah, thanks for watching Eggs on Toast. I don't think we've said that yet. We'll see you next time. We love doing this. This is fun. Hopefully someone's watching.
I've got it.
If not, we've had a good time.
Let's see how good Ethan is at maths.
I'm going to say...
4 years out of high school.
I'm going to say that...
I wouldn't have got it. Okay, I would have just done an estimate.
See, I don't want to calculate too much because then it's just like, obviously I could calculate it if I spend enough time. Yeah. I'm going to say it's 8.66 out of 10.
Very close, dude. 8.625.
Ooh!
So 8.63. 8.63 or 8.6 or 9 if you depending on your...
Or 8.66 if you don't know how to round.
I would have said 8.65 or maybe just 8. I probably would have said 8.662, man.
It just felt
Anyway.
like the third kind of felt like something that could have been skewed by the 2 9s.
I think you're right. And I think the one thing I would hope that people take away from this show is
That we are mathematicians.
that and that these were 2 really great movies.
Please watch them if you haven't.
And please watch them.
And I'm so thankful that you have watched this. If you're here, you clearly have.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Yeah. Peace.
Cheers.
Have you seen the Angry Birds movie?
Shut up.
Have you?
No.
I have. I haven't seen number 2. Number 1's mid.
Probably Smosher in it. That's all I know. That's all I know about it.
Dude, Smosh her back, baby.
Smosh her back. Let's go.